Just because Disney owns Star Wars doesn't mean that they make the best lightsabers. And I say that because there's a lot of different options when it comes to choosing a lightsaber. You have your really cheap versions from like Walmart, Target. They're made of plastic. No one really wants them, but you get them for the kids. And then you have your high end, which is like your independent lightsaber manufacturers that are Star Wars inspired online. But we're going to talk about two in particular today. One of them being Disney and another being a very highly regarded manufacturer of lightsabers. So this is technically. Let's go. Let's go. Imperial Workshop. So these guys have been around for, I guess, a decent amount of time. I just barely came across them not too long ago when I was looking at legacy lightsabers from the Disney parks, and then these guys came up in the searches because it seems like they're very highly regarded in the lightsaber realm. And for good reason, because there's a lot to love about them, even though they aren't one-to-one replicas like the lightsabers sold in the Disney parks, akin to the movies, but that doesn't keep them from really like standing out on their own. And for the purposes of this video, we're going to talk about 5 categories to kind of battle between Imperial Workshop and the Disney Legacy lightsabers, which are going to be presentation, features, design, versatility, and bang for your buck. Those will hopefully give you a little bit more of a comprehensive idea as to what kind of lightsaber you might want to get if you are thinking about getting one, or maybe you're just curious about what's going to go well with your next costume for the Star Wars convention. Either way, let's get started. Ever since I was a kid, I loved Darth Maul's lightsaber. It was 2 blades, 1 lightsaber, duel 2 Jedi at once. I was hooked. That's why I went ahead and picked up the same lightsaber hilt from Galaxy's Edge at Disneyland, and luckily Imperial Workshop also has their own version of Darth Maul's lightsaber. Now remember, I said that they weren't one-to-one replicas like Disney has for the movies. It's not the exact same hilt that Darth Maul used, but it is Darth Maul inspired and very, very close. Opening up the box, you're greeted with a bunch of stuff in there. This is where we get started on the presentation, because as far as presentation goes, Imperial Workshop is already kind of falling behind a little bit. You get this long box which accommodates the 2 hilts that you get. They come in a pair only. You can't buy them individually from Imperial Workshop like you would at Disneyland. And then you also get 2 36-inch blades, which are also like the same size blades that you can get at Galaxy's Edge. You do get these 2 charging cables for each of the hilts because they are rechargeable. A couple of the hilts in Galaxy's Edge are also rechargeable, but most of them you have to actually replace the batteries. So having rechargeable is a plus. You also get this micro SD to USB adapter, 1 set each for a hilt, Allen wrench, and some retention screws. That's going to be important because those are spares for actually putting your blades in the hilts. You get the little coupler, so that way you can put the 2 hilts together, only because it's double-ended, and then you get the instructions. But I think that's about it. Disney, on the other hand, is all about making experiences. So whether you're in the parks, going on a ride, you're going to see a Disney movie, buying cookies on Main Street, it's all about the experience. So it's no surprise that they sent you home with this little box to put your little Star Wars weapon in, and each of them is differentiated by this little lock on the front. So for Darth Maul, he has this one, I don't know, symbol, and when you open it, then you get the lightsaber. As far as presentation goes, I think it's already safe to say that Disney took the point on this one, because they give you a box, and then when you open it up, it's resting nicely in this little platform. And once you open up and actually get to the lightsaber itself, you'll see that it does look very similar to the Imperial Workshop with a couple of differences, and we'll touch on that in a minute. The only downside is you need a box for each of the hilts. So if you're getting a double-ended lightsaber, which there have been a couple on Disney property, then you have to have a box for each end of the hilt. You don't get like a 2-for-1 kind of box. That's the only downside. But otherwise, I like this. So here we have both of Darth Maul's lightsaber hilts, this one being from Disney, this one being from Imperial Workshop. And while they look very similar, there are some of those differences that I was kind of alluding to earlier. And the first being that this one is only Star Wars inspired, not an actual one-to-one replica. Whereas this one, because Disney owns the whole Star Wars property, they actually have the rights to use the original design as seen in the movie that Darth Maul was using. just slightly different, ever so slightly, that they can't get sued by Disney. But otherwise, they look very similar. They have the same button layout. They have these little rings here in the middle. You do have a button here that will ignite the saber. The Disney's lightsaber hilts tend to vary depending on the design. This one has a button, a little twist button incorporated, so you just twist it and it would ignite the lightsaber. Some of them have switches. It just varies depending on whose lightsaber you're using. I prefer the button because the button is universal across all of Imperial Workshop's hilts, and it just makes it a little bit more, I don't know, uniform, I guess. As far as material goes, I do have to say this one has a little bit more heft to it, and I think I would prefer it over the Disney one. So although this is movie accurate, if you can overlook those kinds of differences, then this is going to be the way to go. It just feels more durable. It feels like a lightsaber would if we had real lightsabers. And this one just feels kind of like Disney, I guess. I don't know how else to say it. Kind of when you go and you get a hamburger from Disney and it gets the job done, but it's not the best hamburger you've ever had. Same thing for the lightsaber hilts. It's great, it's really cool, it's movie accurate, but it's also not the best material that Disney probably could have used because they still have to make a profit margin. I do like how the charging port is integrated into the hilt for Imperial. Most of Disney's lightsaber hilts have user replaceable batteries, so you have to unscrew it, replace the batteries after removing the canister with a Phillips screwdriver, and then you're good. This one is just a plug in and go. I like that. I have to give the design point to Imperial Workshop because I just think they went above and beyond with the materials used for the hilts, and that's going to go a long way as far as a collectible item is concerned. Besides the hilts themselves, the next most important thing is obviously going to be the blades. And what's a lightsaber without a blade to stick into it and slice someone in half with? Gotta have it. Both of these are 36 inch. There's a smaller 30 inch that you can opt for with Disney and 31 inch through Imperial Workshop. But this particular blade, I can already feel the difference just by the weight compared to Disney's lightsaber. It feels more like a fluorescent bulb, like almost like it's an acrylic or maybe even glass, I'd say. The difference in quality is obvious. I was always a little bit concerned about Disney's lightsaber blades because they felt very plasticky and cheap. I'm not sure what the inside is made of, but the outside is obviously plastic. I'm not sure how tough that plastic is, but there's plastic, and at the very tip of it, you can see like where it's been glued together, so not the greatest presentation. I would rather have this much cleaner look where it's consistent all the way through. And that's also important because there's LEDs running all the way through the blade, whereas Disney just has a couple of key segments, and you'll see that later when we demonstrate the ignition of the lightsabers. But Disney's blade has this little black part on the bottom. This is to help it attach to the lightsaber hilt, and once you line up the points, then you just lock it in there, and you give it a little twist to lock it in place, and now it's not going to come out. That's really handy because it's really quick and easy, and I like it. Imperial Workshops, although the material is much better, and I think it's just an overall better blade, talking about versatility, it's not as great because when you want to stick this into the lightsaber hilt, there's no fastening. You can't twist it or lock it into place. You actually have to use your Allen wrench and screw this inside. But once you actually attach the blade to the hilt and reinforce it with those screws, then you can be confident it's not going to go anywhere. No one can come out and take your blade as long as they don't have that Allen wrench. So I would have to give versatility over to Disney because it's just easy to pop this in, pop it out, and then you're done. It's super easy, especially when you have kids. You don't want kids to be fumbling around with lightsabers and tools and things and possibly breaking them, so that's just an easy way for them to be able to attach it, whereas this one you actually need a tool to do it. Talking about each of these lightsabers and the features that they have to offer is where I think Disney falls short and Imperial Workshop really stands out. Disney, again, is all about the experience, so when a guest goes into Doc Ondar's at Galaxy's Edge, they can pick out their favorite character's lightsaber hilt and have it be an exact replica as to one they used in the movies or the games or the TV shows, whatever. You're getting their lightsaber hilt, and that for a lot of people is really cool and nostalgic. And you're also getting like a kind of a Disney made product. It might be collectible because they have done some collectible items, but I think that's about it. It's mainly about that experience of getting your character's lightsaber hilt and getting a collectible item. But once you turn on the lightsaber, it's obviously red because Darth Maul's lightsaber is red from the movies. He's Sith, it's going to be red, never going to be blue or green. So that's already a downside because the lightsaber blades will never be able to change color regardless of whose hilt you have because it's programmed by the hilt itself. So if you get Obi-Wan Kenobi's blade, it's going to be blue. If you get Mace Windu's, it's going to be purple. And the sound effects, not bad. Has a couple of reactionary effects if you hit it on the blade. That's pretty cool. Imperial Workshop, on the other hand, you have this blade, it's attached, you have Darth Maul's signature look, but then we press the button.
Powering on.
There we go. Noticeable difference. Not in just terms of the blade and how it lights up, but you also have a way better speaker on the bottom. It sounds much more full than the Disney blade did. And then as far as effects, you do get some of those lightsaber clashing effects. That little white spot, it is randomized, so it will come here, here, here. This one only has a switch, so you turn it on or off, that's it. This one, you obviously heard it say power on at the very beginning, and once that's happened, then this button will stay red to signify that there's power. You can ignite it a couple of ways, one of which is to press the button again, it'll take a second and then ignite. The other one is to do a quick flick of your wrist, and then that'll ignite it. You can also take a jab, and then that will ignite it. So, not pressing the button, there you go. And you can also do it again, it'll turn it off. That's really cool. I like the flexibility of that, and the gesture controls are awesome, because if you do a little quick jab, there you go. So, lots to love about it already, but the features don't stop there. If you noticed, when it shoots up and ignites, then you're getting a much more fluid light up of the blade, and also when it turns off. You can see it go from bottom to top, and then top to bottom. It's really seamless. That was one thing I never really liked about Disney's blades, because you turn it on, it's very blocky. It's not a seamless flow of the light, which should be because that's what a lightsaber is. Now I'm sure you thought the fun was going to end there, but there's more. Epic. So in order to change the color of the blade, it does take some getting used to. I actually had to do a little refresher before I tried it. So you have to point the blade downward, and then while the blade is on, you're going to hold the button and then do a little flick of your wrist, and then you'll be able to change the color. Once you've gotten into the color changing mode, you pretty much just rotate the blade in a circular motion and it'll cycle through the colors, and then you can change it to any color you want really, so I like purple. And then just hold the button, lock it in,
Color selected.
and now you have a purple lightsaber blade. Features would definitely have to go to Imperial Workshop on this one because they jam-pack this lightsaber with tons of features for people who want to customize to their heart's content and people who just want a really collectible Star Wars memorabilia. And that's going to round us off to our last category, which is going to be bang for your buck. Is what you're getting worth what you're paying? But I'm sure before we get to that, you definitely want to see what these look like in a nighttime setting with both blades attached. So why don't we take a quick look at that before we talk about the last category and then round it all up. There's definitely a lot to offer from each of these lightsabers, from the rich features of Imperial Workshop's Retribution hilt to Disney's movie and character accurate Darth Maul hilt. Both of them have pros and cons. Disney obviously had an advantage in presentation and versatility, but then design and features was hands down given to Imperial Workshop because this is just awesome to look at, considering it's not even Disney property. But as far as money goes, I think that's the most important thing, because what would you rather spend your money on? And I would have to say Imperial Workshop gets the point for that. Because like I said, buying these two hilts together in the pair is not much more expensive than these two hilts offered through Disney. And you're getting a lot more features offered through Imperial Workshop than you would with Disney's lightsaber. And not only that, the quality is also better. Just the blades alone, there's a big difference in terms of quality and materials used. That being said, if you're looking for variety, I would say Disney would still be your go-to option because the Retribution hilt is inspired by Darth Maul. It's not 100% accurate like Disney's is, and they only have a couple of character-inspired hilts offered through Imperial Workshop. Luke Skywalker, Ahsoka Tano, and Obi-Wan being a couple of them. Through Disney, they have a lot more character-accurate hilts and a lot more of them just altogether. They have Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, Leia Skywalker, Emperor Palpatine, the list goes on and on. But I think bang for your buck would have to go to Imperial Workshop because you are getting a really great item for not that much more money than what Disney would charge you. Plus, you're not even getting the benefit of a discount with Disney. If you have a magic key or an annual pass, then lightsaber hilts are exempt from those discounts. The discount will only apply to the lightsaber blades, which at most you'll save about $10. And we all know that the lightsaber hilts are the more expensive part, so in the grand scheme of things, $10 is not that much savings. But in the end, I'm super stoked on the craftsmanship and ability for Imperial Workshop to bring these lightsabers to life. If you're interested in getting a lightsaber, definitely check them out because they have a lot of great options. I believe they have different tiers, 3 if I'm not mistaken, this being a level 2 tier, and those tiers just give you options for customizations if you're into that sort of thing. If you just want a straight bare bones lightsaber, then any of those will be great, and I think it would be a great option if you're looking at getting one for your next Disney visit, cosplay convention, photo shoot, whatever. You're gonna be amazed. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I hope that it was helpful in helping you decide what lightsaber you want to go with, what path you want to go down, whether it's light or dark. Make sure to leave a like and a follow, and I will see you guys on the flip side.
Let's go!